Today, President Biden issued an emergency declaration for California to support the storm response and relief efforts in more than a dozen counties. That includes Napa, San Mateo, Santa Clara, and Sonoma. The federal assistance will bolster state, local, and tribal efforts to protect lives and property. FEMA will be coordinating the federal disaster relief.
And here to talk more about all of this with us is Mark Neveau, former FEMA presidential appointee. Always a pleasure, Mark, to see you.
Thank you.
So what does this give the green light for FEMA to do? And what specifically can local counties here in the Bay Area expect?
Yeah, well, this is really focused on life-saving and life-sustaining commodities. It's mass evacuation, mass shelter support. It does pay for overtime for, folks in Emergency Operations Center. But really the focus of that is to be able to make sure people are taken care of in terms of life-saving ventures. $5 million cap, they can go back for more if needed.
All right, so what is the immediate impact this has? We're obviously seeing the images, people having to be rescued from floodwaters, having to clean up mudslides along some of our major highways. What is the immediate impact that we see from this declaration?
Yeah, and it's not just about money. What it says is California can reach back to the federal government in any federal agency and get assistance. They call it technical assistance. Army Corps of Engineers are here taking a look at levees. You got the FAA here helping out with some of the airspace for the C-130s that are flying, the Hurricane Hunters. They're actually flying in the storm. So the FAA is here to help with that. You got the Department of Transportation, you have the Coast Guard already. So it's a number of different agencies, and it really depends upon what the state needs. The state will say, hey, we've got a shortage somewhere, can you help us?
Okay, and what about looking ahead? Because we know, as we just heard from Rosemary, more rain is on the way. Does that mean that there is a chance that that the federal government's going to be here for quite some time?
Absolutely. They're partnered up with the state and locals. And what we're also seeing, this is probably the largest deployment of people and resources I've ever seen for a weather-related incident. There's 50 extra fire engines, there's 11 swift water rescue teams, and a lot of those are located where we had the wildland fires because they're concerned about mudslides and flash flooding coming off of those areas where they were burned, and that's the major danger and concern.
I want to get back to sort of a distinction. You touched on it a few moments ago, but this is a very distinct type of disaster declaration. This is really just for preparation. So this will not lead to direct aid going to people who have been directly impacted by storm damage.
Yes and no. What it will do is if you're, you have to evacuate, you need to go somewhere to a shelter, they'll open up shelters, you'll have meals, cots. In that sense, it will help them.
Okay.
But in terms of recovery dollars, that will probably come down the road. Once the incident is over and they take a look at the amount of damage, then they'll make a determination if the state qualifies for a recovery disaster declaration.
This is really important, though, to make sure that the pieces are in place, especially given the forecast.
Absolutely. That's what they're after. They want to make sure everybody's partnered, they got the help, and they know that they can reach back for life-sustaining, saving help.
And a quick question here. Is there a way to sort of back time this, if you will? We've been obviously dealing with these intense storms and the flooding here for going back before the new year began. Can these cities and these counties recoup some of those costs?
Yes, because they call it an incident period. And when the governor requested help, he went back to last Saturday and said, look, we've had these incidents. As a matter of fact, in the justification, it actually said, we anticipate trillions of gallons of water causing problems throughout the state.
So it wasn't one specific event, but it really is what we've been talking about now for days, which is this cumulative effect of all of this rain.
Absolutely.
All right. Really important that the federal government is, in fact, stepping in. Mark Neveau, appreciate your expertise.
Thanks, Mark.
Nice to see you.
Thank you very much.